I'm Janina, I'm part of Studio 16B, and we have made it our challenge to bring change into organizations as a capability and not just as a project. And change happens a lot when we go on that strategic path. And this is what we do a lot in our workshops, talking about strategy and how we want to execute it. In that context, at some point, we deal with the question, what is the role of the leadership team? Are they the ones who are responsible for the whole strategy thing? And what's with the rest of the organization? And the answer is, for sure, the leadership team is responsible that the entire organization starts moving towards a desired target picture. But it's not only the leadership team, they can't do it alone. The entire organization needs to move. It's kind of a co-creation process. It's where everyone is involved. But let's take a look at the leadership team first. What is their tasks in that whole strategy topic? We need to know where we are. So we need a clear picture of where we stand. And we need to know where do we want to go. And here the leadership has a critical role because they have the overview of the entire organization. They know what's happening within the organization and they know what's happening around it. So they are in contact with people in the market. They are in contact with people in politics. They know what are the environmental requirements that we want to fulfill. So they have a big picture of where does the world head to. Only assumptions we can't predict, but we have to try and make assumptions. They have to create a picture how to position their organization in the context of all these surrounding factors. In order to get the inside view, there's always exchange between the experts in the teams and throughout the organization and the leadership team necessary, because they can only have an overview and we rely on that exchange in order to keep information flowing and to get trends where people are very close to the customers or to the way products are built and so on. And this also needs to be reflected in that future picture. It can have an impact. So we need this ability to have this overview of what is happening in the world, and we need these insights from inside the organization in order to position our company in the world, how we see it in a few years. This picture should be something, and I've talked about that also in the last videos, it should be something really desirable. It should paint a future that I want to be part of, because then I invest the energy and I'm also willing to go through a certain amount of pain to change something, knowing that it's worth it. And here comes an important task of the management team. You have to be able to explain that picture and to paint the benefit that it has so that it makes people want to start moving. So first thing, and I really like that term, is as a leader you are this chief reminding officer. So you have to again and again tell the people of what's waiting there and what we want to achieve, because when they are sunk deep in their daily tasks, they don't have that present all the time. So they need this reminder, and that's you. And if you start to find it really annoying always talking about it, then maybe you have talked just enough so that they remember it, because they are just on a different level in their daily routine. When we are currently here and we want to get here, we've talked about that in the other videos, then we need to start stepwise to go into the unknown and to try and find out what's the best way in order to get to that picture. To make us being involved and to start experiments, trying the first steps. The organization needs a space which is safe. So the role of the leader is to give that safe space, where people can make these steps, where they can be brave and try out stuff, maybe fail, but learn from it and move on, maybe into a different direction. But the important thing is that we get this movement going. So to create that space and to hold that space is the important role of a leader. And this is not so easy, because when we go on that way, it means that the way we work or what we work on may change, and with that also our role in this organization may change. Our role as part of a team, but also our role as a leader. And what we have often is that there's this development or the wish that the teams are more self-sufficient. It's a good thing, but that means when we talk about roles and responsibilities and decisions, that the way we take decisions, the way we find what's the next good thing that we can do, it changes. It shifts more from a leadership task to a team task. So while they hold the space for making this change happen and allowing the organization to develop and to grow, they also are personally affected by the change and they also need to work with that. So also for them there needs to be a safe space. And this is quite of a tension that a leadership member has to endure. So we need to ensure that there's support and a clear understanding also for them. What is their role and what's expected of them? How can they fill their role with life? And where do they also have the moments where they can learn and have support by their side in order to go that way? When we then start going into that direction, it's important that we have time boxes for these intermediate steps that we are doing in order to constantly see if we make progress, if we are on the right track, or if we need to change our way a bit. These time boxes also include that in the beginning we plan what do we want to do, and in the end of the time box we check what did we achieve and how was working on it. So what can we improve in terms of the goal that we set ourselves, but also in terms of the way we work together in order to get to that goal. The space that the leadership team has to give also involves that room to reflect and to question yourself as an organization. Are we doing the things in the best way, or did we learn something that we can use in order to improve the way we move forward? And here we need to establish routines. We have the timelines, how we want to reach our next step. We plan what we want to do. We look back at the end, what did we achieve and what did we learn in our way of working for the future. These rituals need to be kept, and it's an important role of the leader to ensure that this also is a priority in the schedules. Also here, while we go the way, we have this role of being a constant communicator, of bringing the world of the team together with the world of the entire organization, so that they understand what is their contribution towards that picture and what would be the best next step. When we have made these intermediate steps and we know what we have learned and if we're on the right path or if we need to change something, these insights that the organization generates, that can pay back into how does this picture evolve and what does that mean for the path that we are going for the next years? Does that also maybe evolve and change in the entire view? Then bring back into the teams what's happening on the higher levels. Where does the organization stand? What are the best next step to do for the team in order to get here? Or did even this picture change? And also here it's a lot about honesty. So where do we actually stand? What do we actually need to achieve, and where are failings and learnings in the organization that we can also use, not to repeat that mistake, for example. And this can't be done in one shift. Also, this is a stepwise approach, and you need to observe the team and the leader about where do they stand in that process. We have different maturity gates or different types of maturity of teams, and you can't just delegate responsibility into the teams from today till tomorrow, because it's a learning process for both the teams and for the leader. We've mentioned it several times because you can't separate it. The teams have the very big, important task and challenge together with their leader to walk that path. Constantly check, where do we want to be, where are we at the moment, and what would be our next step, and does it pay into that picture? And then do it. So they can give the space, they can encourage and enable the organization to move towards that picture, but they need to go the steps. And also here it's a development to build up the trust in the organization, to start walking, to be able to discuss, are we on the right path? This is a process that happens within the team, but also together with the leader. So we need to build these strong teams that are able to do the steps and walk towards that picture. Because only when there's the trust in the team, we can be so strong that we find the best way, that we can challenge each other, that we can also give feedback to say if each team member is on the right track or if we would wish as a team for something else to happen. So all these things are important, but I guess that's part of another video because it would lead us too long. That's the role of the leader. I guess there are more things to consider, but those for me at the moment are quite important, because that's what I observe, what are the critical points when we go into the workshops and we do the follow-ups afterwards and work with the teams. These are the things that are usually important and need to be considered and worked out. Okay, so thank you very much for your time and see you in the next video. Leave me a comment or approach me in between if you have any questions. Bye!